This is Anarchast.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. I have coming in from Atlanta, that guy T. That's what he's known as on YouTube. He goes by T, and he's in Atlanta. He's an anarchist. He's a young man, and we want to get his ideas on what's going on because he does some great YouTube videos, and we're going to put links to his videos down below so you can check them out. He does some great videos, and I really like them, so I wanted to have him on. So T, thanks for being on with us. And the first question I have to ask you, though, is how did you become an anarchist?
Thanks for having me, Jeff. How did I become an anarchist? Actually, through zombie movies. People often ask me, how did I get there?
That's the most original or different answer to how you became an anarchist yet, through zombie movies. Interesting.
Yeah, I just started off looking at zombie films. I love end of the world type movies and scenarios, stuff like that. Looking at it on the internet, and then over a course of time, I came across the term SHTF and WROL. And I started looking into those types of little films. Then I came across the term prepper, which I was like, hold on, wait, is there people really preparing for something? Like, is there something really about to happen? I need to go buy my AR-15 tomorrow? So, and from that, I just ended up stumbling across Infowars.com, which led me to become, for a while I was a diehard anti-globalist, but toned down rhetoric on that a little bit. And then I led to Gary Johnson, then Adam Kokesh. Once I became a libertarian, like I'm not sure whose quote this was. I think it was Stephen Monuk's. The difference between a libertarian and an anarchist is 6 months, and that's pretty much. It was a little bit shorter than that, about 4 or 5 months after I was a real staunch libertarian. I just kept on going down the path and eventually led to anarcho-capitalism.
Wow, that's great. Such a fast transition, and it goes to show that it can be faster than 6 months for some people, for smarter people. But a funny story that it started all with zombie movies. I've never heard that one. I've heard quite a few different ones, but I've never heard that. And it kind of goes to show that what I like to say to people is, just get out there and do stuff. You never know what it might lead to. For example, the zombie movies led you to finding out about what was the next thing after zombie movies? There was
SHTF, like shit hit the fan scenario.
Oh, right. Yeah. You found the preppers. Yeah. So those guys are out there doing their thing. And then through that, you found Alex Jones, and he's doing his thing. Alex Jones is interesting because he was definitely a hardcore constitutionalist from what I could tell over the last few decades. But he's really been changing to become he sounds like an anarchist now. I think he still doesn't like to say the word or whatever, but he definitely sounds like it. So, and that led to Stefan Molyneux, Adam Kokesh, past Anarchast guests. So, that's why I like to tell people to get out there and do things, and you're one of them. And so I saw your videos, and I thought they were great. And the reason I liked them was because you've got this really great style. You can really just you're quick on your feet. Your way of talking is obviously very. It'd be very popular with younger sort of people. You're 19, turning 20 yourself. So tell us a little bit about how you got started doing those videos.
Well, I first. When I first started talking about libertarian issues and political issues and social issues, I was mainly on Twitter, and I would always type out these tweets. I was getting a lot of retweets. People were always asking me, say more things. You should start a blog and stuff, which I plan to do one day. But at the moment, I didn't have time to really start a blog and type a lot of things out. So I figured the next best alternative would possibly be YouTube, because I used to have a YouTube channel in the past, and I shut it down because I just got tired of it for a while. And then I just decided, okay, maybe I should start it back up, get some things out there. I got a lot of things to say, so I figured YouTube would be a good source to get a lot of traffic.
Yeah, that's great, and I like your style, your videos. You putting out some great stuff. There was one I just watched a couple of days ago. I'm trying to remember what it was about. You were talking about that Santa Barbara guy who killed some people.
Yeah.
possibly. We don't even really know exactly what happened, but I liked your approach to it. It's like, well, he's gone now, so he's, I don't care anymore about him, that sort of thing. Really, really interesting perspectives you have.
Yeah, I try to always come at video from especially a main topic that's in the news a lot. I try to come at it from an angle that people haven't heard. I don't want to say the same thing that people have heard from all kind of different sources, just repeating the same blah, blah, blah. So I always try to come at a unique perspective when I'm approaching different topics.
So did you, after these zombie movies, that sort of a thing, did you have friends around you who were into any of these sort of things, or are you just gone off onto this anarchist land all on your own?
Yeah, pretty much all on my own. None of my friends are even really political, Like whenever I talk about,
Well, that's good, actually.
whenever I talk about politics, they're just like, man, whatever, man. None of them are really. I don't think they're at all statist. Most of them just say, man, the government gonna do what it do. The government corrupt. We all know this, but I ain't really worried about it. So.
Well, that's cool. They're essentially anarchists then, because they're apolitical. They don't care about the political system. They see it for what it is. It's just nothing that helps them at all. They're not necessarily out there fighting it, but that's fine, because it's not like every single person on earth needs to be out there doing that. Everyone has their own interests, and but for people like myself, and it sounds like yourself, you want to get out there and sort of talk about these issues.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to get the message out to people that, you don't have to, just, I like Adam Kokish's ideal definition, universal nonviolence. Just letting people know that you shouldn't feel the need to aggress upon others to make people do what you want to do. Everybody, basically believe in the individual, believe that individuals know what's best for them, their own lives. And even if it might not be the best in your opinion, as long as it's not infringing on your rights or your lifestyle or your personal property or anything, let them live their life.
Yeah, I agree, of course. And so I gather that you've just sort of come across this sort of philosophy or ideas recently. Before that, had you ever even thought about these things? Or what did you think about things like government before you started watching zombie movies?
Well, prior, I wasn't really that into politics at all, really. I really couldn't care less. In 2008, that was when I mainly got interested because, of course, I was a diehard Obama fan. First black president. I can't deny it. That's they had all the rap videos coming out for Obama, Obama girl. I was a hype. But I always didn't trust government so much, especially with the Bush years, the war in Iraq, the way he handled Hurricane Katrina, the way the whole government handled Hurricane Katrina, and a lot of other things, which I just wasn't really a fan of. But I always had the sense of Democratic Party is the party for minorities, because I always used to think, okay, if I go out and vote, who's going to take care of grandma getting her, trying to get her medicine, or who's going to take care of my cousin who's, rough on her luck trying to manage child support, but after I learned about it and after I studied it more, I realized, I took on a staunch approach to individual responsibility and realized that people should be free to do what they do. And that led me down to just going away from government at all.
Yeah, you bring up some really good points, one on Obama and one on rap. On Obama, I almost wonder if this has sort of backfired on them a little bit now, because as far as I'm concerned, Obama was basically grown in a test tube by Henry Kissinger, as far as I can tell. There seems to be no other evidence of his life other than that. And it was quite obvious what they're trying to do. Oh, everyone's getting really tired of government, especially the U.S. federal government. No one likes it anymore. Let's put in, let's change the game up, put in a guy who's half black. He's not even half black, really, when you look into his full, but anyway, they call him black. And everyone thinks he's black, so that he's black. So they put him in, and a lot of people like yourself, black people, were quite excited because they're like, oh, because they thought the problem was it was just all these white guys. Well, it actually is still the white guys running the show for the most part, but at least I think some people are starting to realize that. Well, that's not the problem. Whoever's the president isn't. That's not going to change anything. It's the entire system.
Yeah, exactly. And as far as Obama goes, like you said, I do think they just puppeted him in just to hype up the people, just to say, okay, you know what, let's give him something different.
Yeah.
Gets people hyped up, happy to go out and vote. And I think they're going to do the same thing this year with Hillary Clinton. First woman president. I think the presidency is starting to become more and more of a gimmick, and I think more and more people are starting to realize that it's not about issues, it's not about people, because really they're no different from each other, Republican or Democrat. And it's just like who's going to be the most attractive on MSNBC at night, or the Late Show. Who's going to be that famous celebrity president that we can get.
Yeah. Yeah, that probably will be one of the next ones as a celebrity, but I think you're right. I think they're going to go. It's quite obvious that having the black president is working now, so they're going to put in a woman. Oh, finally! The problem was it was a man president, so now let's get in Hillary Clinton, and maybe let's make Michelle Obama her running mate, which is pretty much the apocalypse, in my opinion, from what I can tell. Like those two bitches are evil ass bitches. Like those sick individuals, and so who knows what, and I don't know. I think that's part of maybe why all this feminism stuff is getting pushed so much now. I think they're trying to prepare people for saying that it's, we need a woman in power, that's the problem, and probably the women will fall for it the same way that the black people fell for it for a period of time, and then go, oh, thank God, that was the problem, it was always men, and it just goes on and on. But I think more and more people are waking up. Just the fact that you and your friends, you just didn't even care about government, that's good. I'd much prefer if people don't really know what government is, or know too much about it, that they just don't care about it at all, that they're apolitical essentially, which is what an anarchist is. And they might not understand the philosophies behind anarchism, or why it's better to be individualists, and why it's better not to have centralized power. But at least they're not fighting against us. And that's sort of the other point I wanted to bring up earlier, was about rap. Rap since its beginning, I'm much older than you. I was rapping. I was the #2 white rapper in Canada before you were born, I think. #1 was Tom Green, by the way. And the thing about rap, I was there in the early days, like right when it started, and I was really into it. And it started off, kind of interesting, but then it got really into like it was very anarchist style rap, like fuck the police and all this kind of stuff, which I think is great, because the police are terrible. It's not helping people, or even Public Enemy, 911 is a joke. That's perfect. People are seeing that every day now, that calling the government if you have a problem is not the best solution. It's better to have all these things privatized. But it's been interesting with rap. I don't know if you saw this video. It just came out in the last year. Snoop Dogg did an anti-gun video, and the chorus was something like "Turn in your guns, y'all." Turn in, like, what the hell? What a sellout.
Yeah, I think it was the after the Sandy Hook incident. But that was disappointing for Snoop Dogg. He lost a lot of credibility from me. No longer going to buy his CDs. I didn't anyway.
Well, it's amazing how many of these people sort of get corrupted by the system, or brought in by the system. Ice-T's another example. He was all about gang banging and all this kind of stuff, and the free market for the distribution of plants, called drug dealing and things like that. And then he had a song called "Cop Killer," which a lot of people were really upset about. And now he plays a cop on TV. It's just sad. But thankfully, I don't know if you have any rappers that you really like, but a few that I really like are Immortal Technique. He spreads a lot of truth. Definitely. There was another one on the top of my head. I like Vinny Paz. He's great. Lupe Fiasco has been great lately. Have you been paying attention to any of them?
Yeah, I'm definitely familiar with Immortal Technique. He's awesome. Who was the second that you mentioned?
Vinny Paz, not many people know him. He just had a great track that actually took a soundbite from David Icke, who's essentially an anarchist, but he won't admit it. He just had a whole bunch of truth in there about 9/11 and things like that. Same as Immortal Technique, very similar. And then the third was Lupe Fiasco, of course. It was last year, or whenever the presidential elections were, I think, and he went off about Obama and actually got thrown out by the FBI, I believe. And he's been talking a lot of stuff about these sort of issues. So what I'm hoping is that some of these rappers start to understand sort of the philosophy more of anarchy. And if we can get them to to go out there and say they're anarchists and say what the philosophy is, they've got such a huge audience. I could really, and that's another reason why I like what you're doing, is because you're, the thing I've been doing lately is I've had people on like Kathy Reisenwitz, who really has an audience with liberals, but she's trying to sort of sneakily tell them libertarianism to liberals by using their language, because you have to use people's language to get across to people, of course. And so I like what you're doing, because you're sort of speaking sort of from the Atlanta style with your drawl, and you're younger and you're cool, not like me anymore. I'm this old guy, and you're going to attract a different audience, and I think that's great. And I think through things like rap and things like that, we can really get through to people, because I think generally most people who are into rap generally understand that the government isn't great. They generally understand that rap has always been sort of a anti-authoritarian sort of music, until Snoop Dogg did his "Turn In Your Guns" video. But what's your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, I definitely agree that rap music. I believe that rap music is half anarchist, because they really, pretty much all rappers, they don't like the government. They understand that the drug war is BS. They understand that that a lot of people, especially minorities, are in jail for victimless crimes, and which they might not even, and even other crimes that they went to, which they could have had the opportunity to, I don't know, sell drugs without being scared to go to jail. They might not have gone to the black market, in which they would have had to undergo robbery and murder and all this other crime that surrounds this primary drug issue. But then on the other side, they're also in often support of, like universal health care and like government subsidies and for food stamps and welfare type things. So I think that as far as the aggression from the state goes, they're definitely against that. But as far as the humanitarian, I guess you want to call it, approach that the state tries to do, they're still in favor of that aspect to some degree.
Yeah, that's interesting the way you put it. It made me think. So I guess what we could be trying to do is try to spread the information that these sort of systems don't help people, or at least is not anywhere near as helpful as just getting the government out of everyone's lives completely. And of course, there would be a transition period, and anyone who's on food stamps and on welfare and has no skills is going to go through a transition. But they're going to go through that either way at this point, because the dollar is going to collapse, the U.S. government's going to collapse. So what we're really trying to do is get these messages out there so that people kind of understand there are other options. So as these systems continue to collapse, and people are seeing it all around them. There's 1 in 6 people in the U.S. now on food stamps. 1 in 4 children in the U.S. are now on food stamps. There's more people on welfare in 11 states than who have jobs. This entire socialist nanny state system is doing what you would expect, which is really making it just so many people just dependent on the system. Because, of course, I always said this. When I was 18, if I was told that I was going to get a check every month for $2,000 a month, and back then $2,000 was worth a decent amount, that was back in the 80s. If I was going to get a check for that every month and I didn't have to do anything, I probably would still be in my grandparents' basement playing video games, because I just wouldn't have had much motivation to go out and do things. But because I didn't have something like that, I had to go out there and learn some things and learn how to produce and be productive and create wealth. So let me ask you about your videos. Are you starting to see, or have you seen any people that that we might not expect might have been turned on to this message, starting to get turned on to it? Are you seeing sort of some people that we wouldn't normally, not normally libertarians or anarchists, sort of catching on to what you're saying?
Well, my videos.
Or is it hopeless?
No, I've just started like putting out more of my libertarian type videos. Majority of my videos up right now are mainly anti-feminist videos and videos on other different events that came about. But as far as my libertarian content, which I'm just now starting up, I've gotten a lot of positive response. Like my anti-discrimination laws are stupid video. I was expecting to get like a 95% downvote ratio on that, but a lot of people surprised me and agreed with me. And even a lot of people are starting to say like, I agree with you in principle, but I don't think that it can work, which is a close step, to say that, I agree that we shouldn't be doing this, but I just need to see proof that this would work, which is a reasonable skepticism, I suppose. But I'm just trying to hopefully lead people to understand that this, I mean, I'm not saying that everything is going to work, that anarcho-capitalism is going to be perfect, that every single answer is going to be solved through voluntary interactions, which I think it could, but I don't know. But I'm just trying to get people to understand that try to realize that the government isn't necessary, because that's what I always tell people. They say, well, I don't like anarchy because we can't have no government. I try to get them to understand that at least get to the point where you say government is convenient. It's just an easy one-stop solution, but don't go as far as to say that it's necessary, that we can't do things without government.
Yeah, I agree. That's the great thing about younger people is they kind of bring in this fresh perspectives on things, and I've been talking about these sort of things for quite a while. But when I hear you say them, you're coming at it from a slightly different angle, which gets my brain going a little bit, which is great. One question I want to ask you, because you brought it up, is about feminism. I still don't understand what's going on. Just a little bit of perspective. I don't really watch TV ever. I really don't even pay attention to mainstream news except for to read the comments in the section to find out what's really going on. So I'm not like up to date on what's going on in sort of pop culture, what the general society and in the U.S. at least generally thinks. But I keep hearing about this feminism it seems to be something going on. I think I might have figured it out a little bit earlier that maybe they're trying to promote this Michelle Obama presidency next or something along those lines, and that's why they're sort of really pushing this. What's your take on what's going on with, first of all, what is this feminism? I don't understand the concept because I'm an individualist. I think everyone is an individual. Therefore, I don't see why. I'm not a maleist. I'm a human being. So I don't understand where they're coming from. Give me your take on what's going on.
Well, as far as the definition of feminism goes, the classical definition is just equality among genders, equal equality opportunity for men and women. But modern day Western feminism has taken a completely different route. And it's now becoming a culture of victimhood and, blaming things on gender that, would usually just be, these are just differences between people in life. People make different choices. And as far as, I don't know, I have seen many feminists pushing Hilary Clinton and stuff like that. But as far as feminism overall, I just believe that it's gotten to the point where it's just making people feel like it's just giving people something to whine about, because like you said, you're an individualist, so am I, and but I don't really have a problem with people taking a specific look at certain issues in certain specific categories. Like I don't really bash any real feminists who, take a look at issues that generally affect women and, focus on that, because, somebody has to. Everybody just can't say, that just focus on everything. There's going to be some people who focus on something more than others. But the only issue I have with feminism is they focus on issues that are purely emotional. Nothing that really matters, nothing that can be solved other than people just, getting over themselves, in my opinion. It's just a lot of emotional arguments, a lot of things just, I feel sad because of this, I feel scared because of this, which we can't help you with your feelings. That's only on you. So that's my main beef with feminism, is that they come at a lot of issues, a lot of really irrelevant issues at that, from a only purely emotional perspective, nothing that we can really address through,
reason.
Yeah, reason, basically, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. That is interesting. not totally aware of it again, like I said. And another reason is I don't spend a lot of time in the U.S. The U.S. is quite its own microcosm of things. There's, Luke Rudowski, a past Anarchast guest, has been over in Germany for the last few weeks, and he's found out there's like a massive anti-Federal Reserve movement over there. There's like Edward Snowden posters everywhere. So people over there are really quite awake and aware to what's going on as opposed to the U.S. So for me personally, I spend quite a bit of time in Mexico, and there is no problem between men and women in general here in terms of feminism. There seems to be quite a happy, it's not perfect. There is definitely a macho sort of a culture here and that sort of thing, which, you can say has good or bad. It's just an opinion. But in general, there is not a lot of females here all talking about, how we need to change men and all that kind of stuff. Everyone's quite happy with each other down here. So that's why it seems a little bit odd to me to hear these things, because I don't hear and see them normally. So yeah, very interesting stuff. Definitely we're going to put links to your videos down below. If you have anything else to say, please let us know. I really enjoy hearing your opinions. I'm going to be watching any future videos you have. If you want, let us know anything you want to talk about. And if not, let us know as well where people can get your videos and anything else, any other information you put out. Maybe you have a blog.
No blog at the moment, just my Twitter mainly. That's my main source of social media. Twitter, ampersand at that guy at underscore that guy T. That's my Twitter handle. And as far as any other subjects I want to talk about, and real quick, my YouTube channel is youtube.com/user/thatlibertariant. And that's also my Facebook page, but I'm not on Facebook that much. As far as any other topics I want to talk about, I did plan a little response because I've seen a lot of the past videos. You always ask people about Bitcoin, so I planned a little response about Bitcoin. As far as Bitcoin goes, I don't. I'm very optimistic about Bitcoin, but I'm scared of the cryptocurrency community, because when I first tried to learn about Bitcoin, the community was fierce. Like, it's kind of like the first time you play Call of Duty with your friends and you go in and you're like the noob and you're like, everyone else is doing great, getting kill streaks and stuff, and you're at the bottom going negative, and everybody's in the mess like, what are you doing here? Why are you even playing? You suck. So I'm here.
That's exactly why I don't play video games anymore. My 8-year-old son I'm just like, forget it. I just can't compete.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I got when I went into the Bitcoin community, especially on Reddit. That's where I first started. I was trying to learn about Bitcoin. I was asking questions. They're like, noob, go to Bitcoin for beginners. Then I went to Bitcoin for beginners. Then they said, no, go to Bitcoin for babies. And I was like, okay, it's a really tough community, but I'm very optimistic about Bitcoin. I have huge hopes for it, and I'm glad that we're seeing all these different alternatives to to monetary value from the Federal Reserve and, national dollars. And I'm glad that the U.S. hasn't really taken any action against it, because like we've seen action in China being taken against cryptocurrency. And we've seen like companies like Apple not hosting the Bitcoin wallet, which they now have just decided that they will. So I think that cryptocurrency is starting to gain a lot of traction now. And I think a lot of people are starting to open their eyes up to it and accept it as possibly another form of money.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you brought that point up, because that is a point that I'd like to make about not just Bitcoin, but about anarchists and libertarians in general. What I've found is that quite a few of the members of the community of both Bitcoin and libertarianism or anarchism are incredibly hostile to newcomers, and that is not the way to spread this philosophy. Of course, I understand that the Reddit Bitcoin channel is hardcore. Those guys are crazy, and they're actually they're almost like zealots, like almost like religious sort of about Bitcoin. Like they just it must succeed, and they will do everything to make it succeed. And actually, that actually adds a lot of value, because things like Apple and things like that, the reason they change is because they get so many of these guys just hounding them literally every second of every day to change that and put Bitcoin apps on Apple and things like that. However, yeah, you're totally right that it's very hard for newcomers, and I see this all the time. And so, the anarchists out there, we will not get other people to understand what we're talking about if we start yelling at them that you know, you're way below me, you're not even on our level, you can't even talk. It's like, no, like, try to welcome them in. A lot of people haven't heard these concepts before with anarchy and with Bitcoin, and it does not help to antagonize people for not knowing every single piece of literature on anarchism when they're just trying to figure it out, because people are coming to these communities just like you with Bitcoin, and they're interested. They see something there that they can sense might be something they want to know more about. And when you go into these communities and you get attacked, and I've seen it so many times in the anarchist community, that is not the way to go about things. If you know, I do understand, because if you do get into this philosophy, both with Bitcoin and anarchy, and you do understand and you spend years and years studying it, it can be frustrating to have someone just walk into a virtual room, so to speak, on the internet, and just, he has no clue, and he might ask some stupid questions. It is frustrating, because it's like, oh, I have to start over again with this person. But you should really not antagonize these people, and don't be negative against them, because all you're going to do is drive them away, and what we need is more people to understand these concepts.
Exactly. And just to throw in one more quick point about how you say, like, just bringing more people, more newcomers into the anarchist community. One thing that I have seen with a lot of anarchists, I just want to throw this out here real quick. A lot of anarchists, especially when someone asks anarchists a question, a lot of times they, especially like on Twitter, I've seen, they entertain it for a short period of time, but after a while, they usually just say, okay, man, I'm done explaining this to you. Go to Mrs.com, this link, and it links to like a huge 7-page article. And, you know, I think that's a deterrent to a lot of people, because I think a lot of people, you know, they say, well, I'm curious, but no, I don't really feel like going and, you know, going deep into the depths of the philosophy, you know, so quickly. I just want to learn the basics. And I think that people should be real open to just letting people know the basics and starting them off there, and, you know, answering little small questions, you know, as ignorant as they may be. And then hopefully one day that will lead them to, on their own, search for in-depth critique. And then that will let them find more information on their own, and actually want to find the information.
Yeah, I totally agree. Sorry, my chihuahua is going a little crazy here. Bruce, yeah. I totally agree. And actually, there's an idea for a lot of anarchists and even Bitcoin people, but mostly anarchists say a lot, like, I don't know what I can do. I want to do something to spread this. Well, there's an idea. Start up an anarchist noob group. And what we can do, and Bruce, yeah. And what we can do is sorry, it's my Chihuahua Bruce Lee's kind of.
Trust me, I have a beagle, so I'm used to hearing barking. 7.
Yeah, start up an anarchist noob group. So what anarchists could do, so a lot of the really hardcore anarchists who have told people these things so many times that they just can't do it anymore, and I totally understand that. Just get that out there so that they can go, hey, go to this group. These are like sort of like the welcome party to the anarchy philosophy, and these people will take the time to talk to you. And maybe what the other anarchists, even the ones that really know all the philosophy and have literally read everything, they could donate their time like a charity, maybe an hour a week. They go to the anarchist noob group and they just calm down and they talk very in basic terms with people to get them into the basics of things. So yeah, that's why I enjoy conversations like this, and that's why I enjoy seeing people like you doing what you're doing, because you bring different perspectives and you let people know what some of the issues are, because you're coming at it from a different angle, and in your personal angle is that you're fairly new to it, and that's what you've seen with Bitcoin, and I've seen it all the time with anarchy. So yeah, I'd like to thank you, T. Check him out, that guy T on YouTube. We'll try to put as many links down below as possible, and check him out. And the other thing I want to mention is, do you know any other anarchists in Atlanta?
Not yet, but now that I've gotten so much traction, especially with my videos being on the front page of Reddit a couple of days ago, I've gotten a lot of people who saying, "Oh, you're an anarchist in Atlanta too. I'm right down the street from you." I'm like, "Oh, cool." So I'm looking forward to meeting a lot more anarchists and libertarians in my area. So, no.
Yeah, well, the reason I brought it up is because we have something called, I run a site called The Dollar Vigilante, and that's just TDV. And we have something called TDV groups, which are mostly all libertarians and anarchists around the world, and they start up groups in their own area. So what we could do, if you're interested, is start up an area, you could start up the Atlanta group, and you'll find that there is quite a few people who are like-minded in the area, and you can just chat on Facebook or whatever you want, and get together if you want to, but it's just a way to meet fellow like-minded people in the area. So if you're interested in that, we'll start that up, and I'll talk to you about that offline. And yeah, and I'm sure after this video, you're going to get a lot more people sort of wanting to contact you in that area. And I know a few anarchists in Atlanta myself. There are a couple at least. And so yeah, so you can sort of meet some like-minded people in the area, and it never hurts. And yeah, so again, thank you so much, T. That was great. I really enjoyed it. And so check out all his stuff, great stuff. And that's it for Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. Peace, love, and anarchy.
This is Anarchast.